Hello and good evening. You're watching AWANI Tonight with me, Hafiz Marzukhi. Initial police investigations estimate that there are around 10,000 followers and members of Global Equine Services and Business Holdings or GISB nationwide. Inspector General of Police Tan Sri Razaruddin Hussein says that its followers are believed to still be practicing teachings of the deviant Al-Arqam movement. In fact, according to him, the Op Global probe lead to action under the Special Measures Within Security Offences Act or SOSMA. He added that from the police's intelligence, GISB still practices the teachings of the Aurat Muhammadiyah because of the Abuya books and their own zikir that form the basis of their faith and worship of the cult's leader Ash'ari Muhammad. Police have frozen millions of ringgit worth of land, assets and vehicles linked to the GISB. Razaruddin says to date, they have seized a total of 38 vehicles worth almost 4 million ringgit. Separately, Social Welfare Department or JKM has opened 11 safe houses for children rescued from GISB welfare homes, up from just 4 previously. Razaruddin also said that 187 victims rescued from its most recent operations this weekend have completed their health screening and will now be handed over to the Social Welfare Department to be placed in safe houses. The Education Ministry will take over the education of more than 300 children previously under Global Equine Services and Business Holdings or GISB's care starting October 1st. Minister Fadlina Sidek says the children will be given formal education to ensure they are not left behind while investigations are ongoing.
KPM akan mengambil alih pendidikan mereka bermula 1 Oktober. Ya? Dan ini anak-anak ini yang ditempatkan di beberapa rumah perlindungan ini akan diberikan pendidikan formal oleh Kementerian Pendidikan Malaysia berdasarkan modul-modul khas yang telah pun pernah kita laksanakan sebelum inilah.
She added that the children are currently undergoing several assessments, including reading, writing and counting, as well as psychosocial evaluation. Meanwhile, Fadlina said Putrajaya is planning to take action against the parents who left their children with GISB welfare homes. She said her ministry's legal team is currently reviewing the matter as the parents had failed to provide the children with formal education as stipulated by the Education Act 1996.
Any religious ruling or fatwa involving the Global Equine Services and Business Holdings or GISB will be decided by the Conference of Rulers next month. Religious Affairs Minister Dato' Muhammad Naim Mokhtar says a paper on the matter will be presented to the Malay rulers after discussions by the National Council of Islamic Religious Affairs tomorrow.
Naim said discussion committee comprising all the muftis in Malaysia was formed and that the Department of Islamic Development Malaysia, JAKIM, is preparing the necessary documents. On Sunday, JAKIM announced that items seized during police raids could serve as evidence in determining the faith of GISB followers. These items include pamphlets, books, and items deemed as superstitious and believed to be contradictory to Islamic teachings. On Friday, police became the first state to decree in a fatwa that the beliefs and teachings of GISB is deviant.
The decision to reinstate UPSR and PT3 examinations cannot be viewed from a single aspect. Education Minister Fadlina Sidek says that for now, the ministry remains firm on the previous decision to abolish both exams. She added that as administrators, the government has to be consistent as they have made various emphatic efforts to strengthen classroom-based assessment and provide training for teachers to ensure that nothing will hinder their students' progress. She was responding to calls from several quarters urging the MOE to bring back UPSR and PT3, which were abolished in 2022, citing that these exams helped with the holistic development of students. They claim that the absence of these exams has contributed to the dropout rates in the SPM examinations. Fadlina added that the ministry is also focusing on a new approach to the 2027 school curriculum. She added that the ministry is currently in the process of drafting a new education development plan to set the national education direction for 10 years starting from 2026. Government-linked companies and some private firms could soon offer technical and vocational education and training, or TVET graduates, far higher starting salaries. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi says 3 companies have already agreed to offer starting salaries of between RM2,500 to RM4,000 as part of a government program aimed at elevating the program that was previously deemed as low-skill.
Zahid said the government had agreed with private companies and GLCs that a premium salary be offered that is higher than the minimum wage set by the Human Resources Ministry. He said how much a TVET graduate will earn at these companies, however, will depend on their Sijil Kemahiran Malaysia SKM level. Meanwhile, a study by Khazanah Research Institute published last year found that only 10% of vocationally trained workers earn over RM2,000 a month, despite growing demand for TVET graduates. The think tank also reported that employment rate in the TVET sector was found to have increased from 65.5% in 2010 to 87.6% in 2020. The government had poured over RM13 billion under 2 federal budgets to bolster TVET learning courses and institutions.
Malaysia reaffirms its unwavering support for the Palestinian cause and is committed to advancing the efforts to implement the recently adopted United Nations resolutions aimed at providing legal clarity on the situation in the occupied Palestinian territories. The matter was discussed during a bilateral meeting between Malaysia's Foreign Minister, Datuk Seri Muhammad Hassan, and Palestinian Prime Minister Muhammad Mustafa, held on the sidelines of the 79th United Nations General Assembly, or UNGA 2024, on Sunday. In a statement, the Foreign Ministry said the meeting highlighted Malaysia's steadfast commitment to supporting Palestine in its struggle for sovereignty and justice. Both leaders explored ways to strengthen bilateral cooperation and coordinated efforts, particularly focusing on the implementation of the General Assembly resolution on the International Court of Justice, or ICJ, advisory opinion regarding Palestine, adopted on July 19th. Earlier, Muhammad represented Malaysia at the Summit of the Future, or SOTF, held alongside the 79th UNGA, which aims to forge a new consensus on how the international system can better address the needs of both current and future generations. This marks Muhammad's first appearance at the UNGA since assuming his role in December 2023. After an 8-month dry spell, the effective capacities of the Air Hitam and Teluk Bahang dams in Penang have shown a significant rise following heavy rainfall since the beginning of this month. However, they have yet to reach a safe level. Penang Water Supply Corporation PBAPP Chief Executive Officer Datuk K. Pathmanathan said that as of today, the effective capacity of the Air Hitam Dam stands at 58.3%, while the Teluk Bahang Dam is at 31.3%. He noted that one of the corporation's main goals now is to optimally replenish both dams between September and December in preparation for the state's next dry season expected to start in January 2025. In light of this, he urged Penangites to conserve water despite the rainfall. We'll go for a short break. Stay with us.
Sahaja kami jual bunga, kami juga menjual benda yang ada kena-mengena dengan bunga.
Ada budak baru cuba kacau bisnes kita.
Sejak jadi kakak kencang ni, ramai yang DM Hawa. Tanya macam-macam tentang Astro Fiber Wi-Fi kencang. Hawa, keluarga saya besar. Setiap hari kita semua guna internet serentak. Adakah Wi-Fi kencang 500 Mbps sesuai untuk keluarga saya? Jawapannya, ya. Wi-Fi kencang 500 Mbps sangat sesuai. Tak kisahlah mak nak layan drama ke filem ke, ayah pula nak tengok sport. Anak-anak nak main game online, live Instagram, live TikTok. Semua boleh dilakukan serentak tanpa gangguan. Kenapa tak dapatkan Wi-Fi kencang? Hanya RM90 je sebulan. Sangat berbaloi. Jom dapatkan Astro Fiber sekarang.
Welcome back. Sri Lanka's new president, Anura Kumara Dissanayake, was sworn into office today, promising clean politics as the country recovers from its worst economic crisis. The left-leaning candidate of the People's Liberation Front, or JVP, took his oath at the colonial-era presidential secretariat in Colombo.
55-year-old Dissanayake emerged as the decisive winner with more than 5.7 million votes, defeating incumbent President Ranil Wickremesinghe and opposition leader Sajid Premadasa. He replaces Wickremesinghe, who assumed office during the height of the financial crisis following Sri Lanka's first-ever foreign debt default and severe shortages of food, fuel and medicine. Wickremesinghe had imposed steep tax hikes and other austerity measures per the terms of an IMF bailout. His policies ended the shortages and returned the economy to growth, but left millions struggling to make ends meet. Dissanayake has said that he plans to continue the IMF rescue package, but plans to modify its terms to enable tax cuts. Shortly before the swearing-in ceremony, Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena resigned, clearing the way for Dissanayake to appoint his own cabinet.
Singapore faces a potential population decline within the next decade without immigration, a shift that could have significant consequences. According to the Prime Minister's office, the country could see more deaths than births among its citizens in about 10 years. Minister Indrani Raja, in a written reply to a parliamentary question, noted that there were 24,726 citizen deaths in 2023, a 40% increase from 17,691 in 2014. Meanwhile, citizen births declined to 28,877 in 2023, a 13% drop from 2014. Citizen births refer to babies who are automatically granted Singaporean citizenship if at least one parent is a citizen. Indrani highlighted that these projections are based on assumptions such as fertility rates, migration, and life expectancy, which may not materialize as expected. For the first time in the country's history, Singapore's total fertility rate fell below 1, reaching 0.97 in 2023, continuing a 30-year decline. The Israeli military launched a new wave of attacks against Hezbollah in southern Lebanon today. Earlier, Reuters reported that residents there received calls from a Lebanese number ordering them to immediately distance themselves 1,000 meters from any post used by Hezbollah. The Israeli military claims that Hezbollah has stashed weapons, including cruise missiles, in homes and buildings across southern Lebanon and warned residents to avoid these areas. Israel's airstrikes also targeted Hezbollah sites across the eastern Bekaa Valley and northern areas near Syria, one of the most widespread attacks against the Iran-backed group. Fears of a broader conflict in the Middle East have led international airlines such as Air France KLM, Lufthansa, Cathay Pacific, and Air India to suspend flights to the region or avoid the affected airspace. And that wraps up this edition of AWANI Tonight. Thanks for watching. I'm Hafiz Marzukhi and good night.
Penyasaran subsidi